Hey guys, we're back. Footwork drills and coordination drills for stand-up. I'm setting out a couple of things. Usually I do the cones for different types of footwork drills and lines on the wall in case you don't have a heavy bag. And I'll go more in detail with those whenever you see them individually on each video, as well as the lines on the ground that you'll see. Some of these are a little bit different, I guess, than your normal exercises that you would do. So if you bear with me when we get to them, I'll go further in detail. So the first one is the in and out. I do this in the left stance and the right stance, and you'll see me do it at both, but this can be done as a simple footwork drill and I guess leg strengthening as well as ankle strengthening drill. I used to have a lot of problems as far as ankle weakness or anything like that, and this kind of helped me get around some of those issues, as well as solve some coordination issues that happen whenever you spar, you hit the heavy bag, or if you're just like hitting regular pads and you just want to increase power. So you'll see me start to throw the jab cross while I'm stepping in and out of the cones, and it's a full body movement. I'm not just stepping with one leg in and out of the cone. I'm actually moving forward and trying to keep the same distance between both legs as I move in and out. Eventually you find a rhythm where you can start to mix both punches or both sides of the arms, where you do jabs, crosses, hooks, uppercuts. And I usually switch about every minute, so you'll see me switch, and then I continue on. I'll start off with the jab till I get the timing, then add the cross, and then I'll add the hooks, uppercuts, and I'll start to mix it up from there. And this drill can take on many different forms, but it's kind of dependent upon the individual. It usually, right about maybe the 3-month mark of somebody boxing or kickboxing, you start to kind of get the coordination factor that kicks in. So it's a little bit easier to pick up these drills whenever you start seeing that, just because you'll be able to distinguish when you step forward for a jab versus when you back up for a cross, or maybe you throw a hook with a turn at the slight bit of the toe. There's a lot of different stuff that can go on whenever you're doing these drills, but the fun part about this is a general guideline. You don't exactly have to follow what it is I'm saying. So if you want to stick in things like elbows, stance switches, you can even stick in wrestling takedowns. They're all able to fit into these type of drills. So stay tuned for the next one. So the next drill is a roundhouse walk, and usually I use this one to not only get some flexibility in the hips and control everything, but if you see as I'm doing this, I'm kind of leaning back as well as pivoting on the leg that is still grounded. There's a slight bit of light that you can see underneath the ankle or the heel, and that's the pivot. That's really important just because it takes a lot of stress off your knees, and it helps you find that coordination in between whenever you're throwing a kick and trying to land the power, and versus whenever you're trying to control your own body and not lose your balance. It'll also decompress your back. So try this one out. Side to side hops is actually one of my favorites, and it's not actually a footwork drill for boxing or kickboxing or any stand-up. This is actually a wrestling drill. I actually watched Stephen Mako from the Iowa Hawkeyes do a long time ago, and I liked it so much because it provided a lot of leg strengthening and a lot of, lateral motion speed that I was kind of severely lacking in. It also helps you build up the strength in the ankles. Zigzags. So this is a very coordinated stance change while you're trying to maintain the distance between your legs as you're going forward and back. You don't want your feet to touch. If your feet end up touching in this, that means you have no availability to be able to throw any types of power punches or be able to switch effectively whenever you get into high stakes situations. And what I mean by that is that if somebody's pressuring you very heavily, you want to cut the angle on them as quickly as possible. Now, yes, it does involve some head movement, but the majority of people get caught because they're off balance and because their legs are not underneath their body. So you want the legs to be underneath your body as you're doing the switches, and of course you can coordinate any types of punches into that. And the next one is actually a F.M.A. star drill. Now, F.M.A. stands for Filipino Martial Arts. So this takes not just from traditional boxing, Western styles. This is a little bit of some Eastern styles mixed into this as well. So you'll see the stance changes, and what I'm doing is I'm following that little star that I made at the beginning of the video when you guys saw me put all the tape on the ground. And what it does is, actually this could mutate very quickly into a lot of different angle changes, stance switches, but what it's doing is it's helping you be able to chamber your stances. For those of you who do traditional martial arts, you'll know what I'm talking about when I talk about chambering. That's where you bring the knee up, or you're able to bring the feet together and be able to kick from very weird angles, usually very like tight situations, almost like you would see in Savate, where the leg can get really close to the body and you can still shoot it almost like it's a punch. So it builds up some different type of skill sets. So this is a traditional drill actually that I was shown a long time ago, and I had kind of put it off to the side until I started getting a lot of lower back issues and stuff where I would get tight. So what this drill is, this helps you do is it actually helps you find the range of being able to throw punches and kicks effectively, as well as being able to mix in other things that you'll see probably in the next one that I know are a little bit weird, I guess, to the outside viewer, because it just looks like you're touching and like you're kind of just, I guess, I guess if you want to put a funny term on it, maybe touch butt, right? Like you always hear Conor McGregor saying touch butt in the park or something like that. But it has a little bit of use in here, and the goal of this drill is to effectively control your kicks and your punches as well as the speed and the timing of them. And if you notice the distance you can't see on the ground, I actually have a piece of tape right there where I don't step in front of that piece of tape. Or if I do cross it, I make sure to very quickly get my stance back across that line. So I'm trying to find the range of my legs and the different types of kicks that I like to do. You're seeing anything from traditional, I guess, TKD kicks to Okinawan style karate to savate and different other variations. And in this next drill, again, it's a similar drill like we just talked about, but you'll actually see me change levels. And the thing about the tape that makes this unique is that I actually put the tape in the lines that I would normally see, I guess, eye to eye on that top piece of tape. The middle of the tape is actually where my solar plex would be, or the rib cage. And the lower part of that tape is just about maybe the top teardrop portion of your quad. And the reason I do that is because I'm actually using myself as a measuring stick on where I should be able to hit somebody at. So I'm controlling the shots. I'm not actually throwing these hard. They're just really light touches to the wall, as well as being able to mix in between the punches and the kicks. So again, I'm trying to find the range, and I'm getting back across the line as soon as I throw whatever strike I'm throwing. You'll see me even change levels to go in between those two pieces of tape for what would be like a takedown. So this is just some basic heavy bag work using all those ideas in the footwork drills that we played with. So if you have a heavy bag available to you, you can use that as well. Again, using the idea of all those range controls, the stance switches, the different types of punches and kicks being placed to the bag, specifically in those areas that we use the tape in, like the head, the diaphragm, and the legs. The only thing I didn't mix into this was takedowns, and that's just because I'd rather work it on a partner that kind of knows how to fall, as well as not running into a stationary object. So pretty much any of those drills can be added to a workout, either at the end or the beginning as a warm-up or a finisher. I wouldn't necessarily say that you'd want to do them at the end. You might be kind of tired. Or it can be a workout by itself. I know a lot of the times I do these in addition, maybe as a warm-up to the start of a workout, and I'll do them actually as 3 rounds, like the entirety of all the drills, prior to doing like a heavy bag round or prior to doing like maybe some boxing or kickboxing sparring. But again, it's up to the individual and what you can take. I will say that when you first start doing these, maybe take your time, maybe even less than the time that's provided on there, because your feet will be a little bit raw after you get done. But other than that, enjoy.